What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Smiths. And we're returning for another non-album tune from the era of The Queen is Dead. Thank you again to Daisylusion for providing these tunes. And this one is Shoplifters of the World Unite, which is just a hilarious title. I wonder whether there might be more than is on the surface of the song title, and yet even if it is just a literal tale of people who steal from stores uniting together in some common endeavor, it's already hilarious. So yeah, I don't quite know what to expect, but I'm guessing I'm going to be amused. Let's see what it is. This is the Smiths. The track is Shoplifters of the World Unite, and it's a non-album tune from the era of The Queen is Dead.
Assemble the waves. Now, today, tomorrow, and always. My only weakness is a list of crime. My only weakness is, well, never mind. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, hand it over, hand it over, hand it over. Learn to love me and assemble their ways. Now, today, tomorrow, and always. My only weakness is a list of crime. But last night the plans for a future war was all I saw on Channel 4. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, hand it over, hand it over, hand it over. Hand on my shoulder, pushing it sober. And a bastard crashes down 6 months of a long time. Try living the real world instead of a shell. But before I began, I was bored before I even began. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, take over.
What a fascinating song, both sonically and lyrically. So sonically, in large part, it sounds like a typical or like wheelhouse Smith song. It has Morrissey's, flowing, languid vocals. It has that sort of what's the right word for the guitar? Like, not jangly, but it has this very characteristic guitar work. But the second half of the tune seemed to push into almost a bit like heavier synth rock type of territory. So yeah, it felt like the second half of the tune had guitar work that was a little outside the normal or typical Smith sound, and it just seemed to have a really notable shift moment where, again, first half of the tune, I'm thinking this is exactly what I've come to know from the Smiths, and I think the sound for which they're the most famous, or the most famous sound in their discography. But then, yeah, as I said, in the second half of the tune, it really seemed to shift a bit and went a bit harder or heavier than I think of when I think of the Smiths, like indie rock type of sound. In any case, the lyrics are amusing to me because it sounds like there's maybe three things going on here, and I'm not sure how they all stitch together. So, the first part of the tune, it sounds like he's talking again about love between people and maybe, it not quite syncing up right or aligning right, and it's like he wants this other person to maybe love him more. But then it sounds like he is talking, making reference to this, my only weakness is a list of crimes, and, like literally talking about how he might have a rap sheet, as they say. And in the second half of the tune, it's like a hand comes on his shoulder and it's all over, and he's maybe being hit by a baton, which sounds like he was caught shoplifting and, sort of in the moment, like, oh crap, I have been caught here, and he's, taking some abuse maybe from a police officer who happens to be nearby. And then it, like, there were the line, like, what was it? I began before I was born, or something like that. And that feels like he's talking about, like, personal trajectory, and maybe he's saying he was inclined to do these kinds of things before he even, sort of knew about things or remembered things. Meaning, our very early childhood, we don't quite, as we get older, it's like, it's this impenetrable, history of ourselves, meaning it's not until we begin to use language and so on that, by the time we're a year or two older or whatever, that we begin to form memories that will actually last. So I thought maybe he was talking about his own life, but then again he goes back to this, shoplifters of the world unite. So maybe it's like, he's trying to form some camaraderie with others who get up to these same things. So I don't know how those different elements stitch together, and maybe I'm not hearing one or more of them correctly, but a very intriguing song lyrically. And as I said, I enjoy Morrissey's vocals here. They're in his traditional range, if you will. I enjoy the sound. The low end of the tune had a bit of like heaviness to it, like the bass had a lot of weight. So, yeah, ultimately a compelling tune sonically, an intriguing one lyrically. Curious to hear what people have to say about it. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.